with a temperature.
First, a South Jersey town is rocked by the murder of a young child, and now they learn the alleged killer is a teenage neighbor. Good evening, everyone. I'm Amy Caples, in for Beverly Williams. Little Crystal Carlson, a fourth grader, was found stabbed and strangled early yesterday morning. Then less than 24 hours later, police charged one of her neighbors with the crime. Eyewitness News reporter Colette Cassidy joins us live now from Salem County with more. Good evening, Colette.
Good evening, Amy. Well, it has been a difficult weekend for people in Alloway Township. First, a 10-year-old found murdered. Now, a 19-year-old suspect is in police custody. And police say it is a neighbor of Crystal Carlson's who is now charged with her brutal murder. This is the man police believe killed 10-year-old Crystal Carlson, allegedly stabbing the fourth grader multiple times, strangling her, then dumping her body on the side of a road.
The New Jersey State Police are announcing the arrest of William Francis McPherson III for the April 17th murder of 10-year-old Crystal Carlson.
New Jersey State Police had McPherson in custody early Sunday morning, then spent the day searching his Cedar Street home, just blocks away from Crystal's home on West Main Street in Alloway, and only 1 block away from her school. The weekend began with an all-out search for the little girl after she was last seen walking the short distance home from school Friday afternoon. Her body was found by a farmer Saturday morning. The weekend now ending with her parents and 2 brothers in mourning. A child's flag that was once in front of their home now gone.
He was a troubled child, a troubled youth, and it's really hard to believe that such a event would even take place, that he was even involved in it.
Some residents of the quiet town were stunned, hearing that a teenage neighbor stands accused of killing the child. Family members had offered a $20,000 reward to find their niece's killer, but state police say it was good detective work that led them to their suspect.
Many of them have children of their own. They know what this would do to a family. And of course, when you're involved in a case like this, you want to bring closure almost immediately. You want to make sure you do the best possible job and bring that individual who's responsible to justice.
Now, New Jersey State Police are still investigating exactly what happened between the time Crystal was seen walking home from school and when her body was dumped off the side of that road at about 3 a.m. Saturday morning. The suspect, McPherson, is being held at the Salem County Jail on $500,000 cash bail. Meanwhile, at Crystal's school, counselors are expected tomorrow to try and help her classmates deal with this tragic murder. Reporting live in Woodstown, I'm Colette Cassidy, Eyewitness News. Amy?
All right, thank you very much, Colette. A former FBI expert says the ransom note in the JonBenet Ramsey case is a fake that kept investigators from finding the killer. The expert says the note was, quote, totally ridiculous, an effort to throw police off track. JonBenet's mother says she found the 2.5-page note in their Boulder home in December 1996. The former FBI profiler says police believed the letter, so didn't secure the crime scene for 8 hours. There are no suspects, but evidence may be presented to a grand jury sometime this week. Police in Trenton have arrested a suspect in a murder that happened outside a College of New Jersey fraternity house earlier in the weekend. 19-year-old Jamel Lane was shot and killed Friday morning in front of the Theta Chi house hosting the keg party. 22-year-old Rodney Wood surrendered last night to police. A second suspect is being sought. The 2 men charged with robbing and killing an Old City lawyer are scheduled to be arraigned on Wednesday. Daryl Newkirk and Daryl Robinson were arrested yesterday at the home of one of Newkirk's relatives. They are accused of murdering Lois DeVita in her home last Monday night. DeVita's roommate, Holly James, says the 2 men tied them up and gagged them. James was able to escape and survived the attack. The entertainment world is mourning the loss of one half of one of the most enduring couples in show business. Linda McCartney, wife of the former Beatle, has died following a long battle with cancer at the age of 56. She was 27 years old when she broke the hearts of a generation of teenage girls and married Paul McCartney, the cute Beatle. They formed a partnership that would span 3 decades, a love affair that would produce 3 children.
She just was the first sort of one that struck me as a woman. I don't know why, you know. I mean, the others were great, by the way, you know. She was very kind. She's a very kind person, so she's very sensitive and very deep. I just went for her in a big way, you know. That was it.
Linda McCartney died Friday while on vacation with her family in Santa Barbara, California, her husband and children at her side. Linda McCartney gained fame in her own right before marrying Paul. She was an accomplished photographer. After the breakup of the Beatles, Linda joined Paul's new band, Wings. Although she was at times criticized for her lack of musical talent, the band enjoyed a string of hits in the 1970s. And she supported her husband's most recent passion, composing classical music. A vegetarian long before it was fashionable, Linda McCartney lent her name to a range of frozen dishes and published her own cookbook in 1991.
This is made from soybeans, tastes the same, looks the same, and it's better for your health. Eat that.
They shared a love of horseback riding, and she was well enough for a final ride just 2 days before her death. Breast cancer first derailed the McCartneys' contented life in 1995. Last month, it had spread to her liver. But it would not stifle Linda McCartney's spirit. Her husband called her the most positive person on earth. A family friend tells reporters the McCartneys spent one night apart in their 29 years together. Funeral arrangements are not yet complete. 2 pilots are dead after a mid-air collision at an air show in Florida, and the crash was caught on tape. An amateur photographer captured the horrifying scene on video as the 2 single-engine biplanes collided during acrobatic maneuvers. Witnesses at the Kissimmee Air Show say they believe a strong wind pushed the planes into each other. The airport was reportedly getting wind gusts of up to 30 miles an hour. 5,000 people were watching on the ground, but no spectators were hurt. Another plane crashed, this time in Detroit, Michigan. A small plane was reportedly carrying 300 pounds of marijuana when it went down in a ball field. Customs agents had been following the plane for about 1,500 miles. Investigators say they think the pilot realized he was being followed and tried to escape into Canada. The pilot died in the crash. No one else was aboard the plane. Folks down south battled harsh weather conditions once again today. Residents of Spartanburg, South Carolina, were hit with a surprise burst of strong winds and heavy rain this morning. Authorities say a possible tornado swept through the area, causing property damage and several trees uprooted, damage to cars. No word yet if anyone was hurt during this latest storm. A solemn anniversary in Oklahoma City today. Residents paused for 168 seconds of silence, one for each victim killed in the bombing of the Murrah Federal Building 3 years ago. Country singer Randy Travis led the hundreds gathered in the hymn Amazing Grace during the memorial service. Those in Oklahoma City on this day 3 years ago said they felt like the world was ending when a bomb blew out the front of the federal building. 2 days later, Timothy McVeigh and his friend Terry Nichols were arrested. McVeigh went on trial in 1997 and received the death penalty. Nichols, seen here in a separate trial, was sentenced to life in prison. The crime scene is now an empty field where family and friends gathered today. A military guard laid a wreath at the site, and friends and relatives wept for those missing. Timothy McVeigh is said to have bombed the Oklahoma City Federal Building because of the deadly fire at the Branch Davidian compound in Texas 2 years earlier. Today, to mark the 5th anniversary of the Waco fire, people gathered in front of a museum dedicated to the cult's leader, David Koresh, and his followers. It was back in 1993, a 51-day standoff between the cult and federal agents ended in gunfire and then fire. Koresh and 82 members of his cult died. 17 of those victims were children. The museum was built by a Branch Davidian and a handful of volunteers. Each person who died in the fire is remembered by a plaque and a tree planted on the site. It's also been a day of remembrance right here at home. Thousands of people came together on North Broad Street for a tearful tribute to victims and survivors of the Holocaust. 6 candles were lit inside Congregation Rodef Shalom, symbolizing the 6 million members of the Jewish community killed in the Holocaust. It's an annual tribute. The theme this year, A People Survives from the Gates of Hell to the Gates of Jerusalem. A woman who was a child during the Holocaust told Eyewitness News the tribute is an important reminder.
I think it's very important to have the service and also to remember all year round, not just this one time of the year, that the Holocaust occurred and 6 million Jews were destroyed. 1.5 million children were killed, died during the Holocaust. And I think that the world at large should know and be aware and hope that it never happens again.
Names of many Holocaust victims were read aloud. Organizers say more than 3,500 people attended today's service. A former New Jersey senator has his sights on the White House. Bill Bradley reportedly plans to run for president.
Walmart makes it possible for us to have a yard we can be proud of.
What a nice thing to say.
In the next half hour, Weather Center PM, a comprehensive national forecast. At 40 after, Weather Center PM continues with highway and air travel conditions. Then the weekend outlook. And at 50 after, Storm Watch. But right now, it's your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
Well, the stormy weather in the southeast and mid-Atlantic region is easing, but rain is soaking the northeast as we move into Monday morning. Hi, I'm Christina Abernathy. Welcome to this edition of Weather Center.
And I'm Warren Madden. We'll focus on the northeast, especially Boston, where you're getting ready for the marathon. But first, let's talk about the severe weather. The Charlotte, North Carolina area was battered late this afternoon as the stormy weather moved through the region. Officials confirmed that a tornado hit South Charlotte. It brought down trees, it damaged houses, and this car, unfortunately, isn't looking too good either. Farther to the south, the water is running high and fast in some parts of eastern Tennessee tonight, where too much rain is causing problems. This is the Little Pigeon River in Sevier County east of Knoxville. Rising water forced the evacuation of a nearby retirement home. Now here's Christina Abernathy. She has more on the severe weather and the storms.
All right, Warren, here we go into the eastern U.S. That's where we're going to focus first of all. Of course, Warren will have more on the western half of the country, but right up and down the East Coast, we've been dealing with a lot of wet weather along the eastern seaboard. And the northeastern U.S., widespread rain continues, and then we've got rain extending back into the Carolinas. Some of the weather here has been quite rough, and then watching that front as it trails on back through Florida and into the Gulf, where we're dealing with a bit of rain and even some storms here. But a soggy night for a lot of folks, sort of a murky evening here. And the rain continues to fall through the Carolinas and on into Virginia, although not quite as impressive on our radar screen as we saw earlier. But around Charlotte and back towards Columbia, still a bit of wet weather here. It looks like most of the rain has moved east of Charlotte, but up towards Greensboro and Raleigh, still some wet weather as we head through the overnight hours. And Raleigh, it's been sort of a rough night for you. Some big time storms here, as well as some big storms around Charlotte. But again, it looks like things are looking up for you. To the north we go, watching that rain extend on into Virginia. Look out around Richmond and Charlottesville. Towards Baltimore and D.C., you're dealing with some soggy conditions here as well. But again, Roanoke, things quieting for you back towards Hickory as well. And then on northward, it's been a soggy, sort of yucky day for you in Baltimore and into Washington, D.C. And there's more wet weather back to the south. And we'll continue to watch that move on through the region. But it's looking better for you as we head into tomorrow, where the thinking is that as this front pushes offshore and the area of low pressure lifts out of the northeast, that we will see an improving trend. So things are looking better after the end of the weekend, beginning the work week, just in time to head back to the work. Some improving weather for you. To the north, widespread rain continues here through parts of New England into New York State and into Pennsylvania. It's going to be moving into the Boston area. We'll have to keep a real close eye on Boston as we head into tomorrow for the marathon. To let you know what the weather's going to be like there. We'll have more on that coming up in the forecast. But keep in mind that we do have a flood watch in effect because of that potential for heavy rain here in northeastern Pennsylvania. Be extra careful there. Something else to look out for, strong storms, which may still be a possibility here in extreme eastern North Carolina. What about the rest of the country? Warren?
Well, you had a soggy Sunday across parts of the upper Midwest as well, courtesy of a storm dropping down out of Canada. And it's going to be a very slow-moving storm. We'll be seeing that moving slowly eastward over the next several days. As we go to the maps, we can see what is happening. There's that low. It's moving into western Iowa right now. But again, it is a very slow mover. A cold front extending out from it heads up through the Colorado Rockies and then turns stationary right along the spine of the Rockies. But it is slow moving. Look at this. You can see the spin of it, but notice how over the last several hours it has barely moved at all from out of the southeastern corner of South Dakota. We have been seeing some showers with it. You can see that center of the low sitting and spinning here not too far from Sioux Falls. We've seen a few showers around the Minneapolis area. Those appear to be dissipating right now. We've even heard some thunder rumbles earlier on in the evening. Rhinelander, Wisconsin, seeing a little bit of showers. And as we head farther south, we've been seeing some showers in and out of the Des Moines area. Looks like west of Des Moines, perhaps some of the heavier bands getting ready to rotate out towards you. So you might hear the pitter-patter of rain on your rooftop here as you head off to bed. And as we look farther south, a few showers heading in through the Topeka area, maybe even Kansas City seeing a few showers and maybe hearing a few rumbles of thunder. As we look a little farther west, the California area into the southwest, pretty nice actually, as we see a return of more spring-like temperatures. Made it up to 86 degrees in Phoenix during the day on Sunday, 80 in Las Vegas for those of you wandering up and down the Strip or perhaps heading up into the downtown area to check out the Fremont Street experience. Not too bad at all. 84 in Los Angeles, and as we head farther north, 62 in San Francisco. Will the heat continue in the southwest, and will the rain get out of town in time for the marathon? Check the answers to those questions now with Christina.
All right, here we go, and it looks like things are going to be drying out for the eastern seaboard on Monday. Now, of course, this evening what we've had to contend with is this area of low pressure in this front, and that's meant rain for the northeastern U.S., and storms for the Carolinas and even back into Florida. You've been dealing with some soggy weather. Good news, though, things are improving as this front and this low move offshore, the low lifting out, and that's going to bring an end to the rain in the southeastern U.S., drier air moving in, and we'll eventually see conditions improving for the northeastern U.S., including New England. Let's take a look at the details of that forecast. And to start out the day, still rain in the forecast for Boston for the morning hours. 48 your temperature to start the day. We'll have to keep a close eye on things here and let you know just how quickly that rain moves out. But to start out the day, again, wet weather will be around. We'll keep a close eye on your weather as we head towards noon, towards the marathon. To the south, things looking pretty good for you to start out the day. Atlanta, 49 with partly cloudy skies, plenty of sunshine in New Orleans. Over towards Austin, the only area here where we might have some problems is right through here, maybe around Orlando. You'll want to take the umbrella as you head out tomorrow morning. That same area of low pressure that's giving you the rain and the storms tonight is going to be around in the morning. Look out, that means you, Minneapolis, St. Paul. Finally, westward we go. Not a lot of active weather here, but there will be some areas of fog, we think, around Seattle and Portland. So maybe you'll want to leave a little extra early for work in the morning. Visibility is reduced. You may want to take it a little extra slow out there. Here are those low temperatures on Monday. Cool for a good bit of the country. And we're going to watch two systems tomorrow. This area of low pressure and this one, and eventually another one moving into the northwest. But this is the progress we'll see through the day. Rain and thunderstorms through the Midwest. Rain ending for folks in the Northeast, so that by midday we think it's generally going to be northern New England and northern New York that will be affected by the wet weather. And here we go into the early evening hours. Notice that rain has moved into the Pacific Northwest with that front. Heaviest amounts of rain are expected to be in the northeastern U.S. That's no big surprise. The flooding potential in northeastern Pennsylvania. And here are your high temperatures on Monday. It is looking nice and toasty for a lot of folks out there, and we are going to see some pretty hot temperatures in the southwest.
Hey, don't forget to join us beginning at 7 a.m. tomorrow 4 Eastern Time tomorrow for live reports from Boston as we bring you the forecast.
Luxury with attitude. The Bonneville Buckline.